The reason why you have some couple of errors while analyzing data sometimes is not because you don't know how to write functions and formula or writing Python code, but because your data is not well cleaned and transformed. In this particular video, I'm going to show you how to use Power Query to transform and clean your data, and again, how to actually use some features in Power Query you might have not even thought of. So if you're ready, let us get into it. Oh, before then, please kindly subscribe to this particular channel and as well share to your friends and family, and your comment always encourage me. Please do that right now. Let us get into it. The very first thing we need to do is to make sure we actually open out a blank, PBRX, which is this particular one right here. As you can see, there is nothing inside it. So let us go ahead and get our data opened. So open up the file you have actually downloaded from me. You're going to see this particular adventure work CSV here. Then go ahead and right click and just do extract here. Then you're going to see some couple of files just like this. So the very first thing I'm going to show you in Power Query is how to actually, work with multiple files. Specifically, if you get weekly report or monthly report, you don't have to actually do it the other way around. I'm going to show you the best way. Two ways to do it. Now, in this particular two ways to do it now, one is when you actually have one-time analysis, and the other one is when you have analysis that is actually ongoing every single time. So let me show you the first one. So if you look at it right now, over here, we have this particular file here called Adventure Work Sales, and that's sales, and that's sales. And we have just 3 years of data right in here. So now we have to consolidate this particular 3 years of data in one. And I told you we have two different ways to do it. So the first one I'm going to show you right now is when you have one-time analysis. And the second one has to do with when you have continuous analysis every single time. Now, let's do this. We're going to go back to Power BI right now. Now we're in Power BI. The next thing is for us to actually pick our data. Let's quickly go over to here. And now we'll click on Text CSV and we navigate to where we have our data right in. So here comes our folder. I told you we have to pick this particular file, which is 2015 to 2017. So there is no provision for us to actually pick 3 of them at the same time. We have to do it one after the other. Just click on the first one and click on OK right in here. So you're going to have this particular interface. Don't worry about it. Just go ahead and click on Transform Data. So once you have this in, you can actually rename it to whatever you like. In my own case, I'm just going to leave it to sales. I'm going to take it off. So now I just have sales. I've taken adventure off. So go over here and go to CSV through here. That will land you back here. Then we'll pick up 2016. Now we just click on OK there. So we'll just take off this particular part. And for the last time again, we go ahead and pick the last one, just CSV here. So we have picked up 2017. So now we have 3 years of data right in here. We have the same numbers of column and different numbers of rows. So this is where the trick comes in. So when I just got started, I always do this particular mistake of, not knowing how many columns I should have in one of the file and in the other file. And it always gives me some kind of problem. So now this is what it is. Over here in 2015, if you look at it now, it says we have 8 columns beneath here. 8 columns and over 1,000 rows of data on it. So if you want to take a look at the numbers of rows that is contained inside this particular data, it's very easy. All you have to do is to go to Transform. From Transform, you can see here, it says Statistics. So click on Statistics and go to Count Values. So now you have over 2,000 rows here, right? So let me show you something again. Then we do the same exact thing, Transform again, we do Count. So we have under 2000 row. The previous one was 2600 plus, this one is 2300 plus. So we can have more rows in either of the columns, but we can never have more columns in either of the tables, right? We can have more rows in either of the tables, but we can never have more columns in either of the tables. So the columns must be consistent, and the rule is this: every single column headers we have right in here must be equals to what we have inside 2015, 16, and 17. So you cannot actually have other dates without space in this particular 2015, and over here you have other date with a space. That simply means you have two different things. If you're just getting started, take note of this. I have to actually go, slowly for you to understand every single thing right in here. So now that we have gotten this now, if we have to make this particular file just one, so what do? It's very simple. So it is time for you to understand something very important. That is going to be this particular part right in here. So over here, as you can see, we have what we call merge queries, and we have append queries. So what is merge queries? Merge queries simply means you are actually, bringing, some columns from a particular table into another table. So table A might have just 5 columns, and table B will have 10 columns. And you want to take maybe 3 columns from table B into table A. That is what we call merged. You understand? So you grow your table horizontally in this particular situation, right? So when we talk about append queries right now is growing your table vertically. So if table A contains just 10 rows, right? 10 rows, maybe multiple columns, let's say 5 columns and 10 rows in those particular 5 columns. And table B contains like hundreds of rows with 10 columns, right? Now, if you take this particular table and merge it to this particular one, that is 110 columns. Rows. The same numbers of columns in both of them, but now we have actually increased the rows. So when we talk about append simply means you growing your table vertically, and that is what we're about to do. So right now we want to append and make sure we combine these particular 3 files together. So there are 2 options you can actually use. You can either append it to either of them, or you can actually create a new table on its own. So let's do it. So I'm just going to click on the first one here, go over to append queries, and click on append as new. Append queries as new simply means we are creating a new table without affecting our previous tables. So now we are here. So if you have more than 2 tables, you can actually click on 3 or more tables. So now this is what we have. So if you look at it right now, the first table we clicked on is what's actually active over here. Now for you to add another one, click over here and click on add. Click over here and click on add. So right now we have done justification to this. The next thing we have to do is to just go ahead and click on OK. So as you can see, now we have it appended. You might not actually be sure if this is done 100%. What you need to do right now is to go over to the other date here, right? And go over to this particular add column, then click on this particular date rather, then click on year. So now what we have just done is to extract the year, because right now we're going to be sure if the table is actually appended. We have 3 years of data here, 15, 16, and 17. So if I click over the drop down now and click on load more, I can see we have this over here. Another way to verify this is to actually count how many rows we now have right now. So go to statistics and go to count values. So now in total we have over 5,000. Oh, that is 50,646. That is numbers of rows that we have right now. So both of them, both of the 3 tables are being joined together through vertical way, not horizontal way right now. So now, this is only possible when you have the same numbers of columns, not only the same numbers of columns. It is only possible when you actually have the same headers. As in the headers, let me show you what I'm talking about. So I'm going to take off this particular step from here. So now order date, stock date, every single thing is the same thing in every single tables right in here. If we have one that has an S or a space, that will definitely contradict the whole thing. You get it right now. So this is the first option you have. You can rename this particular table right now to your sales Now, this is our main sales table. So there is no need for you to keep these particular 3 tables again. This is where the problems come in. If you don't know the second step, and this is the only step you know, and this particular report comes every single week, and the year just, get started. So do you know how many of this particular file you're going to have for the whole year? That means at the end of the day, you are going to start having scroll over here. What is not really important, you're going to keep them inside your query, which is not really cool. So right now, let us try to delete these particular 3 files, because right now we have combined them together and there is no need for you to keep them again. If I right click and try to delete them, I think it's not possible. Yes, of course. It says the query 2015 cannot be deleted because it has been referenced by another query sales. Now we can't take it off. That is the problem. But wait a minute. What if I want to load this? What will happen? Will this particular one be loaded? Let us try it. Go to home and let us go to close and apply. So we have to be patient and wait for it to actually load itself to Power BI. And if those files got loaded right in here into Power BI environment, I'm going to show you how to actually deactivate it for your data, all your tables not to come into the Power BI environment should you want to still use this particular technique to actually get your data transformed and append together. It's something very simple. I'm going to show you how to do that. So just give it some few seconds. So now we have our tables loaded right in here. And as you can see, there is no need for you to keep 2015, 16, 17 because they are all inside the sales table. So right now, what do we need to do? Let us click on the 3 drop down here and go to edit queries. So when we go to edit query right now, the next thing we have to do is to make sure we disallow those particular 3 tables from getting into Power BI. So over here, what you need to do is to right click and go to enable load. Then just click on continue. Do it with 3 of them. If it has worked, you see that the text will turn to italic. So click on continue as well over here. Right click and click on this, then click on continue. So for the last time, let us go ahead and actually close and apply and load this back. Now, just pay attention to this particular part right now. The 3 files are going to disappear. Now they are gone. So if there is any need for you to use this particular technique to actually get your data appended, this is what you must do. All the tables you have actually appended do not have any business coming to Power BI. You just have to actually make sure you enable or uncheck that particular enable part and make sure it doesn't come up right in here. Okay? Now, that is the first way to actually get to append your tables. So let me show you the second way. On the second way right now, if I have to delete these particular tables from here, what do? I have to select every single thing to delete them. So you can't delete the tables that had been referenced, but you can delete the reference and the tables at the same time. So let us check it out. So if I click on delete right now, so click on OK, everything gets wiped off. Can you see it now? That is it. Okay, now the second alternative is what I normally use for my client. They always come to me like, okay, I have this data and it gets updated every single month or every single week. So how do I actually update my dashboard once I have new data? I'll be like, okay, fine. What you're going to do for me right now is to give me the numbers of data that you have currently, and let us do something. I'm going to build a database, a mini database inside a PC for you, and it's very simple. It's just a folder method. So all I do, Control-Shift-N to have a new folder right in here. I am going to name this one Transaction, Sales, whatever you want to name it, is all your choice. So once you have this particular one named Transaction right now, or still to make it very easy to understand, let us name it database. So this is our database right now. So I'm going to drag this particular 2015 and 2016 into this particular database. So excluding 2017 for a purpose so that we can now see how effective this could actually be. Is very important. So now we have 2 years of data inside our database. Every single time we have new data, we are going to dump it inside this folder, and automatically our Power BI will be updated automatically. So let's see how it works. So the next thing we have to do right now, once I've gotten this particular database right in here, is to make sure we copy the part. So if your Windows is Windows 10, then you can see copy part here. If you're using Windows 11, right click and you see copy to part right in here to copy the part. So I have just copied my own part. Let me show you something. So I'm going to go to Notepad. So over here in the Notepad, I'm going to paste this one in. So if you look at it right now, we have some double quotes here. We have to remove it. It's important. Then the one that started it, we have to just go ahead and remove it. Now we can copy this is valid. So if those particular two double quotes, are there, it's not going to work to give you an error. So we have just gotten it done. The next thing we have to do right now is to head on back to Power BI environment. So click on the query environment here. So right on the query environment, this is what we must do. You can do this over Power BI, but we're actually going to use Power Query. Go over to this particular new source and click on more, because what you're looking for is not displayed at the first page. So while we are here, we have to locate folder. This is the folder option. Then click on connect. So with the connection here, what we get to do is to dump the link. So this is the path to this particular system. So this same thing I've done here is what you're going to, if you're doing a freelancing job for a client and you're using Power BI or even Excel and you're using this particular method, because this same method I've used right now can be used, everything I'm doing here now can be done with Excel project. So what you have to do is, after you might have worked on the client's project and you're sending it back, so you have to show the client how to change this particular part. It's very important. This is the path to my PC. Then once I send in the data, the system is going to start to try to locate this particular part, and it will not be possible because the data is now living in a different PC. So you have to get the client to understand that the part should be changed to his own or her own part. So now click on OK here. So once you have done this now, the next thing you have to do, just click on Combine and Transform. This is going to automatically append our tables for us. We don't have to go through the same processes we have actually went through the other time. It's going to do it 100% by clicking on OK right in here. Everything will be done without we touching any other button again to get it done. So let us find out how it works. So now we have it right in here. We have some extra folders here. So just go ahead and click on the top one here to have it closed because they're not really important. But don't delete them. Don't delete them. It's okay. Just keep them like this. So this is your main data and it's called database right in here. So maybe by now you can decide to rename it to transaction. Okay? Yes, this is what we have. Over here, if you look at it right now, this is the source name. The source name simply means the file name. That is AdventureWorks Sales underscore 2015.csv, 2017.csv, 2018.csv. That is the file name, right? So we don't actually need this, but it depends on the kind of data you're actually working with. There are some situations whereby you have to keep this because it's very important for you to actually use it as a filter or something, importantly. But right now, I'm going to go ahead and delete it because it's not really important. So we have our data. You can verify it as always. Click on this particular add column here. Click on date here. Click over here and extract the year to see how many years of data we have already. So if I click on the drop down here right now and go to load more, then you see I have 2 years of data. This is where the magic comes in. This is 2 years of data, 2015 and 2016. Let us add the third year. So going back here now, we can actually click on this one, drag it inside this particular folder. So without clicking on any button, just go ahead and cancel this and click back over here and now refresh. Automatically, it has picked it, which means every single time you have new data right in here, it's going to actually pick it automatically and update your analysis for you. This is how you can actually append queries. So now we have used this particular append here. Let us look at how to use the merge queries right in here because that is very important. So merge queries is something very simple. Let us quickly go ahead and pick a different table right now. So new source, we go to CSV, and this time around we're going to pick up product. And here we go, we click on open. So now we can remove this and use lookup. So now I'm using lookup here. Why lookup? If you're just getting started, you need to understand the two different types of tables that we have and their names. Before we go on, there is something you need to understand. We have two types of tables. We have transactional table and we have lookup table. The same transactional table can be called a fact table. Then the same lookup table can be called a dimensional table. So now let us look at what is contained in either of the two tables right here. Now the transactional table contains daily transaction, like every single activity that is actually going every single minute or every single seconds, right? While the lookup table or the dimensional table contains, unique list of values. For example, your product, your customers, your location, every single thing, they appear there just once, right? So in the transactional table, we record more of values like quantity, price and stuff like that. So now, we call it, transactional because if I come into your store for 10 times in a day, I'm going to have 10 different, IDs. It's the same ID. My ID, like my customer ID will appear there 10 times, but I'm going to appear in the customer table just one, right? So if I purchase 10 different products, then that 10 different products ID will actually leave the product table into the transactional table and register itself there for a good 10 times. If I purchased one product for the 10 times, that one product will actually register itself 10 times, multiple times. But in the actual product table, it's appearing once. So now let us look at lookup table or dimensional table as a categorical value, which is a particular table we can actually use to actually, break down the values inside the transactional table. Don't worry, I'm going to show you when we start analyzing. So over here now we have the lookup table and we have our transactional table. So the transactional table has duplicate and the lookup table has unique value or unique list. Okay, this is where it actually, starts getting fun. We're going to actually learn how to use the merge queries right now. So let's say you actually work in a company whereby you're about to actually close and you told this particular data guy under, the database to actually help you pull out the product table, and you told him to actually, separate the colors from other, columns, right? Which is the color category or the color column from the other, columns, and he'll be like, okay, no problem. But at the end of the day, he went ahead and actually pulled the whole thing in one file for you. So what do? You start complaining, right? Don't complain. I'm going to show you how to handle that. So what you need to do right now is to locate the color table. So here we have the color table. And what you want is to actually have the color as a separate table on its own. But right now, he has added it for you. So what do you now do? You have to create on that table and make sure this particular table you are about to create right now has connection with this particular lookup products. So what do? Come over here, right click and do duplicate. So what we've just done right now, behind the scene, there's a connection between these particular two tables we have created. So let us rename this one to lookup. Here, I'm going to just name it color. So color. So this color is linked to the product table. So every single time we have a new product colors inside the product table, it will automatically appear inside the color table because they have link. We can't see it, but behind the scenes, something is happening. So we have this. So the color itself is what we're going to deal with. So all I have to do is to locate the color table, the color column. So here we go. Right click now and say remove other columns. Now we are left with this. This is where the main work actually starts. So we cannot have multiple colors in this particular table because this particular table called product now is now going to serve as a transactional table, like more of transactional table to the color. Why am I saying that? This is the many side and this is the one side. If this has to be the one side to this particular table right now, definitely we need to actually have unique list of colors here while we have duplicate ones right in here. So what do? We come over here, we just come over here, we right click and we remove duplicates. So we only have unique list of the colors that we have inside our product table. So now there is no need for we to keep this particular color right here again. It's not actually going to actually help us to do anything. We have to truncate it, right? But before we do that, there is something we must do. We need to actually add an ID. This is what that particular guy would have done for us, but right now we have to go through all this. So let us go over to add column here. Now I'm going to introduce you to index column. So now start from 0, 1 or custom. So if I click 0 right now, which means the first item here, red, will start from 0. If I go back and actually click on 1, the first item will start from 1. If I go back and actually click on custom, I can actually customize how I want my ID to start. So over here, the starting point should actually be maybe 5, and the increment should be by 10. So let's see what happens. So we have 5, 15, 25. So every single time it will keep on adding by 10. So it's all your choice. Either of them will definitely work very fine. So I'm going to keep the last one, then take off this particular 2 over here. Oh no, I have taken all of them off. So let us hold this our control key, select this particular 2, delete, and over here, and I'm going to just name this one color ID. So we have just created an ID for the colors. The next thing we have to do is to come over here. This is where merge queries comes in. So now we're going to bring this particular column into here, and the only way to do it is to use this particular merge queries over here. So when you click on merge queries, it has merge queries as new and merge queries. So we don't want to create a different table. Just click on merge queries right here. And now here we go. It's asking us that, okay, what is the second table we want to use? So we're just going to go ahead and click on this particular part here and go over here and click on color table. Then it's now like, okay, what can I use to map this particular column you want to bring in here? What can you find here that is here? That is a good question. So I'm going to say you're going to find this particular column here. And if you trace it through this particular part, you find it right here. Then you're going to see 100% match, which is 293 of 293 rows in the both tables, right? So which means you're good to go. Then click on OK. So once you have done this, the next thing you have to do right now is to make sure you click over this particular, just take it off. So click over this particular part here and deselect everything, then click on this. So if you do not deselect use original column name as prefix here, it's going to add this particular lookup product, for you. Let us try it. So click on OK. Can you see now? Lookup color ID. Can you see? Lookup color. This is the table we have actually, brought a column into this particular one, and it's giving you this. So another way to get it done, let us remove it and do it again. Click over here. Now we take everything down. We click on this. We uncheck this and we do this. We only have the color ID right in here. So right now we have some couple of IDs from the other table. There is no need for you to keep this particular colors here any longer. Take off this particular column, delete it. Now it's gone. So we now have a separate table. So what I've just shown you right now is how to use merge queries. So there are so many things, you can actually learn right using Power Query. So I'm going to show you more right now. So to actually learn more about this, we just have to go to our product. So under the product here, do we have anything we can use to get this done? Okay, I think we don't have much. Okay, let me show you how to build a date table, and from there we're going to learn so many things about this particular transform and add column. So before we go on, let us understand what transform is all about and what add column is all about, because this is something that is actually very confusing, specifically when I was just starting out, right? So when we say transform, it simply means whatever you do by highlighting this particular column stays on this column without giving you an extra column. Get that right now. If you highlight a particular column like this particular column right now, whatever you do to this particular column on that transform here stays here without adding a new column for you. But if you do the same action while you are actually on add column and you are actually on this particular column, it will never apply that particular changes you wanted on this particular column. Instead, it will actually create a different column for you. So for example, I'm going to go over to this particular column here. Let's see. Okay. We have the product name here. So I want to capitalize everything right now over here. So if I go to format, you can see uppercase. So we have this particular uppercase here, and it is all the product that we have that has been turned into an uppercase. But if we still scroll to this particular part, we can still see that we have the product name right in here with the capitalized H word, which means it does not affect the original column. Instead, it added a different column for us, right? So go ahead and take it off. Now we have taken that particular column down. Now, coming back here right now, we can do the same exact thing on that transform, then go over to format here and do uppercase. Then we are actually in the same column, and that particular thing had actually take effect on the column without we adding a different column. That is how to understand the difference between transform and add column. So let us take this one down as well. So right now, we are about to use this to actually create something very useful. So let us go over to transaction here. Now we want to create a dynamic date table, just like the one we used to build inside Power BI. And the reason why I'm doing this is not because you should actually be using it to actually, analyze the data, but just to show you some certain things you need to understand right in here. So to build this particular date table right now, we have to go ahead and right click and duplicate this particular table right in here. So after we have done that, we have to change this one to date. So we have this one as date right now. Okay, now we have to extract the date part, right click and say remove other columns. So we only have this. And every single time we take a column from the other column, we want to actually make it to be very unique because it's going to serve as our lookup table, right? So we have to right click over here and go ahead and remove duplicate. So we have the unique list of the dates right in here, and we can add more columns. So to add column right now, if you have understood the difference between this particular transform and add column, you'll be able to switch between two of them and do the writing. So now, if we are under transform, you can see this particular part here, date. So everything is here. So if we are under add column here, you can see we have the same thing right in here. It's confusing, but if you have understood my initial explanation, you wouldn't find it difficult to use. So right now, the very first thing we have to add is to actually extract the year. So make sure you are under add column. Come over here and extract the year. So we have the year right in here. So the next thing we want to do right now, everything you want to do, you have to click on this particular column before it actually works. So we are still under add column. We come over here. We are going to extract the month. So the month here is the month number. So I would love to just change this one to month number for a reason. So this month number runs from 1 to 12, right? So we want to actually add the actual month name. This is where I have to start showing you something right now. So we go ahead and say month name, like name of month. We have name of month right in here. So we have the name of month here, and this is it. If you don't want something as long as this, you want to actually have the shorter format of this particular name, what do? You have to actually click on this one, and this time around, you do not have to do this over add column, except you want to have two of them, like you want to have the short and the long one. So if you want to have the short and the long one, then this is what you need to do. Click over add column, be there, and go to format here. You'll go to extract and extract the first characters. Then the first three characters, just click on OK. Now you have two different, months, the long one and the short one. But if what you need is just one, then you don't have to do this particular one you have done. So just click on this and go to transform, use extract over here, first characters, 3, and click on OK. Can you see how easy it is right now? We don't have to add a new column. Very important. So now we go over here now. The next thing we have to add is to actually add quarter. So we go under add column and click over here, and we locate the quarter over here, which is quarter of the year. Then once we click on quarter of the year, what do we see? We see 1 to 4. And this is not going to make any sense to have 1 to 4. So we need to actually add something to it. So how do we do that? It's very simple. So under transform here, we're going to come over to this particular format, and we have prefix here. So once you click on prefix, what do you want to add before 1, 2, 3, and 4? We want to actually add Q, like this in capital letter. Then once you click on OK, this is what you have. You can see we have Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. That is how easy it could be, right? So if you want to have space between them, maybe hyphen or whatever, dash, then just go back to this particular part and double click over here. You have this particular part open back for you. Then just go ahead and put a dash like this and click on OK. Now you have new Q1, 2, 3, and 4. This is what you can actually do to actually have this done. So there are a lot of things you can actually do with this, but we're going to stop it right in here and quickly go ahead and load our data to Power BI. And today we have just learned about Power Query, how to use Power Query to actually transform and clean your data. And this is exactly what you need to learn when it comes to cleaning and transforming data using Power Query before you get it ready for analysis. So now we have our data right in here. Let us go through this particular part. So we have every single tables we have built. Can you see it now? Then let us come over here. Then, as you can see, automatically our relationship has been created, exclude the date table. So over here we have the transactional data. So we have this linking itself to what? Color ID. To color ID in color table and the product table. And over here, we have the product key to this particular part. This is 100% correct. So all we have to do right now is to link this order date to our main order date here. And we have many to one as well, which is 100% correct. This is exactly what you need to get. So finally, we have actually built a successful model for our transformation. I believe this is going to help someone. If it does help you, please do me a favor to actually like, share, comment. It's very important. And if you have not subscribed to my channel, do that, and I'll be seeing you in my next videos.